The Musician starts in Warsaw, Poland in September 1939, at the episode of World War II, first presenting Władysław Wladek Spillman, who functions as a piano player for the nearby radio. The clean armed force has been crushed in 3 weeks by the German armed force, and Spillman's radio broadcast is besieged while he plays live on the air. While clearing the structure, he finds a companion of his who acquaints him with his sister, Dorota. Spillman is promptly drawn to her. Władysław gets back to track down his folks and his sibling and 2 sisters, pressing to leave Poland. The family talks about the chance of escaping Poland effectively, and they choose to remain. That evening, they pay attention to the BBC and hear that England and France have pronounced battle on Germany. The family celebrates, accepting the conflict will end rapidly once the partners can draw in Germany. Conditions for Jews in Warsaw rapidly disintegrate. Wladek meets with Dorota, who goes with him around Warsaw to learn of the bad form Jewish individuals need to look under the new Nazi system. Organizations that were once well disposed to them currently will not permit their support. Wladek's dad is cruelly illegal to stroll on the walkway in the city by 2 German officials. When he starts to dissent, one of the officials smacks him in the face. The family before long needs to move to the Jewish ghetto laid out by Nazi rule. The Holocaust is beginning, and the family, however wealthy before the conflict, is diminished to means level, despite the fact that they are still in an ideal situation than a considerable lot of their kindred Jews in the packed, starving, sickness-ridden ghetto. Władysław takes some work playing piano at a café in the ghetto, diverting down a proposal from a family companion to work for the Jewish police, and the family gets by. Yet day-to-day environments in the ghetto proceed to decline, and scores of Jews kick the bucket consistently from illness, starvation, and irregular demonstrations of savagery by German fighters. One night the family sees the SS walk into a house across the road and capture a family. The oldest man can't stand when requested in light of the fact that he is restricted to a wheelchair, and the SS officials toss him over the gallery to his demise. The other relatives are gunned down in the road and run over by the SS truck, assuming they may do. By 1942, the matured dad should apply for working papers through a companion of Wladek's, so he can take some work in a German clothier. Nonetheless, the day comes when the family is chosen to be sent to their demises at the Treblinka inhumane imprisonment. Henrik and Helena are chosen and removed, and the remainder of the family is shipped off the Umschlagplatz to hang tight for transport. They are subsequently rejoined. As the family sits under the blasting sun with many different Jews hanging tight for the trains, the dad utilizes the family's last 20 zlotys to purchase a sweet treat from a kid, who evidently doesn't know about his own looming destruction. Every relative eats a small piece of treats, their last dinner together. As they are going to the trains, Władysław is unexpectedly yanked from the lines by Itzhak Heller, a Jewish man functioning as a police watch. Władysław watches the remainder of his family board the train, gone forever. He stows away for a couple of days in the bistro he played piano in with his old supervisor there. He later mixes in with the 10% or so of the Jews that the Nazis kept alive in the ghetto to use for slave work, destroying the block facades, isolating the ghetto, and modifying flats for new, non-Jewish occupants. He is given something to do, under tiring, oppressive circumstances, remaking a bombarded-out building. He assumes he sees a close buddy, Janina Godlewska, a vocalist, yet she passes rapidly. He discovers that a portion of the Jews are arranging an uprising, and helps them by carrying firearms into the ghetto. While conveying blocks, he drops a heap of them, is violently whipped by a SS official, and is given a new position providing the specialists with building supplies. He likewise sneaks firearms in potato sacks. The weapons will be given to the obstruction contenders on the opposite side of the wall for the uprising. At a certain point, he is nearly gotten by a German official, who thinks that Wladek is concealing something in a sack of beans. After this near disaster, he concludes he should get away and take his risks in the bigger city. With the assistance of companion, Majorek, what companion got his dad working papers a couple of years prior, he escapes and tracks down Janina and her significant other. They take Władysław to his overseer Gebczynski, a man with the clean opposition, who conceals him for one evening. The following day Gebczynski takes him to an empty condo close to the ghetto wall, where he can reside endlessly on snuck food. He should be quiet notwithstanding, since a few non-Jews likewise live in the structure and accept the loft is vacant. There, Vladik observes a piece of the Jewish ghetto uprising of April to May 1943, for which he carried the weapons, and watches weeks after the fact as the uprising is at last squashed and its members killed. Afterward, Gebchinsky needs to move Vladik as the Nazis have tracked down the weapons of the clean opposition, compelling Gebchinsky to be on the run too. Gebchinsky says it's inevitable before the Nazis find the condo Vladik is stowing away in. Vladik chooses to wait, feeling more secure where he is. His companion gives him a location to go to in the event of a crisis, and leaves, seriously cautioning Vladik not to be gotten alive by the Nazis. Władysław stays in the loft a couple of additional months until he has a mishap, breaking a few dishes. The commotion has ruined his disguise, and he needs to run out of the structure, being pursued by an irate German lady who associates him with being Jewish. Vladik goes to the crisis address he was given, where he shockingly meets Dorota, who is currently hitched, pregnant, and her sibling dead. Yet again Dorota and her better half conceal Vladik in another empty condo, where there is a piano that his quiet holds him back from playing, yet his new overseer, Shalas, is extremely slack about carrying in food, and Władysław faces starvation, and at one point nearly passes on from jaundice. Dorota and her better half visit him, thinking that he is seriously sick. They report that Shalas had been gathering cash from liberal and accidental contributors and had stashed everything, passing on Vladik to bite the dust in confinement. Vladik recuperates so as to see the bigger 1944 Warsaw Uprising, in which the Posts attempted to retake control of their city. Before long the Germans begin going after the structure and he needs to escape. The Shafts had anticipated that the propelling Soviet Red Armed Force should help them, however the Russians didn't come, all things considered permitting the Germans to put down the revolt, and drive the whole leftover populace of Warsaw out of the city. Władysław conceals in the unwanted emergency clinic that had been across the road from his subsequent refuge. The Germans had by then chosen to consume Warsaw to cinders, so Władysław escapes the clinic and bounces back over the wall into the ghetto, presently a neglected, forlorn no-man's land of blocks and rubble. He remains there, scavenging through wore-out structures to track down something to eat, and keeps on stowing away, until one night a Nazi official, Chief Wilhelm Hosenfeld, tracks down him. To demonstrate to Hosenfeld that he is a musician, he plays a serious and brief version of Chopin's Number in G minor, whenever he first has played since he worked in the Jewish ghetto years prior. Hosenfeld, moved by Spillman's playing, assists him with getting by, permitting him to keep concealing in the upper room even after the house is laid out as the skipper's central command. Hosenfeld at last forsakes the house with his staff when the Russian armed force moves nearer to Warsaw. Hosenfeld provides Vladik with a last bundle of food in his jacket. He asks Vladik his family name, which sounds precisely like Spielmann, the German word for piano player. Hosenfeld vows to tune in for Vladik on the radio. Hosenfeld likewise lets him know that he just has to get by for a couple of additional days. The Russian armed force will free Warsaw soon. Not long from now subsequently, Władysław sees clean sectarians, and, defeat with delight, goes outside to meet his kinsmen. Seeing his jacket given to him by Hosenfeld, they think he is a German and attempt to kill him, before he can persuade them he is clean. In the spring, recently liberated Shafts stroll past an ad-libbed Russian wartime captive camp, and Hosenfeld is among the detainees. The Shafts mercilessly mock the Germans through the wall, however when Hosenfeld hears that one of the Posts is a performer, he goes to the wall and lets him know that he helped Władysław, and requests that Władysław give back, before a Russian trooper tosses him back all the way down. The clean performer truly does for sure take Władysław back to the site to request of the Russians, however they have left without a follow when he arrives. Władysław can't help Hosenfeld, yet he gets back to playing piano for the radio broadcast. Shutting title cards let us know that Hosenfeld kicked the bucket in a Soviet gulag in 1952. Władysław lived to be an elderly person, biting the dust in Poland in 2000 at 88 years old. The cards are intercut with film of Vladik victoriously playing Chopin's Great Polonaise Brillante working together with a full ensemble going with him. In the spring, recently liberated Shafts stroll past an ad-libbed Russian wartime captive camp, and Hosenfeld is among the detainees. The shafts mercilessly mock the Germans through the wall. However, when Hosenfeld hears that one of the posts is a performer, he goes to the wall and lets him know that he helped Władysław, and requests that Władysław give back, before a Russian trooper tosses him back all the way down. The clean performer truly does for sure take Władysław back to the site to request of the Russians, however they have left without a follow when he arrives. Władysław can't help Hosenfeld, yet he gets back to playing piano for the radio broadcast. Shutting title cards let us know that Hosenfeld kicked the bucket in a Soviet gulag in 1952. Władysław lived to be an elderly person, biting the dust in Poland in 2000 at 88 years old. The cards are intercut with film of Wladek victoriously playing Chopin's great Polonaise Brillante, working together with a full ensemble going with him. The end. Thanks you.